Question 17, it starts off by asking us about the domain of this function. Now, the domain is like your x values, if you like. So which values of x are going to cause a problem in this function? So what we mean by that is if we have this, where if we have 3 divided by 0, that causes a problem, and the same on this side. The reason it causes a problem because how many zeros are there in 3? Well, there's actually an infinite amount of zeros, so that's why we say this has an infinite value. If you type this into your calculator, you would get a syntax error for that very reason. So which values of x can we not include, which means that will allow this to happen? So what value here would, in this sum, make a 0? So you can see x would be -1. Now, I only asked for one value. I'm going to give 2, just for the purpose of this video. So what would create a 0 here? Well, 2 would 2 take away 2. So x is 2. So I only asked for 1. I'm going to write both. It's good practice. Okay, so here, find the value of the function of 0. So that means when this value of x is replaced with a 0. So x is being replaced with 0, not just here, but throughout this whole equation. So what we're going to have is 3 over 0 plus 1, that's going to be 1, plus 1 over 0 take away 2, well that's going to be -2. And we can tidy this up, so that's 3. Now the signs are different, so it's going to be a negative, so it's a half. 3 minus a half is simply 2.5. Now you'll notice they're 1 mark each, and that's why they're incredibly simple. This next one's 3 marks, and here it says show your clear algebraic working. Means even if you get this answer correct, if it's not clear, you're not getting the mark. So please pay attention on how I do this. Okay, so this whole function has to equal 0, so it means all of this has to equal to 0. So that's the first thing I'm going to write. You won't get any marks for this bit. I'm just rewriting the question. So where that function is equal to 0. Now we have algebraic fractions that we need to add, and we do that by making a common denominator. So this fraction here on the left, I'm going to multiply by x minus 2. Okay. And if we multiply this one on the right by x plus 1, now you're probably thinking, why has he put a 1 outside the bracket? That's naff. And yes, I agree with you, it is pretty naff. But I think it's good practice. And if that wasn't a 1, you know, just personally, I just think it's less likely to make a mistake, especially if this was a subtraction. That's why I did it. Okay, so when the denominators are the same, we can join them together. So we're going to have 3 lots of x minus 2 plus 1 lot of x plus 1. This is all equal to 0, and we have this common denominator of x plus 1 x minus 2. Okay, so we have a fraction and we have this division which we need to remove to solve, so we're going to times by all of that. And because it's equal to 0, when we times this by 0, that's still going to be equal to 0. It in a way cancels itself out. So then we're left with this on the top. Now you can expand this bracket. I'm going to do it quickly. So you have 4x minus 6 plus 1 is equal to -5. Okay, so linear equation, x is on the left, numbers on the right. When I say left, it's because they had the most on the left. And x is 5/4. So there you go. That's how you get all the 3 marks. You'll probably find your first mark there. You're definitely obviously going to get a mark for there. And there'll be some room for follow through, error carried forward. But you want all of these lines of work in here. Okay, I hope that made sense.